What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, Cheesehead TV. Sorry for the false start before. Lots of technical issues. Google Chrome, not loving my life, but I'm live. I'm here. I'm in a different room, so things are a little crazy. Corey's, conducting business in his office. It's kind of ridiculous, but thought I'd jump on here while I can before I head home and play another Patreon member at Madden. Got to whoop up on people every week because it's what I do. No compensatory picks for the Packers is the headline today. I don't think anybody is surprised by that news, given the 4 free agent signings they had early in the process last year. I think it was kind of a foregone conclusion, but the NFL making it official today, announcing the compensatory picks for 2020. The Packers, not among them. But it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5:32 here. Salud. And hey, you work for a beer company and you would like to sponsor Extra Cheese, your beer could be right here. Hello to everybody in the comments section. Did we lose any picks? No, Jared. No picks lost. Cobb an option? I do get this question quite a bit. I wouldn't completely dismiss the idea. We've seen reunions in Green Bay before. I would be surprised. I think they'll most likely want to find their own guys in the draft, but I wouldn't rule it out. That said, I would suspect Randall will probably re-sign in Dallas and stick around with McCarthy. But like I said, let's see what happens. We've still got about 10 days until free agency opens up. We'll see if Randall actually hits the market. Have you ever read Dune? David, of course I've read Dune. I've seen the movie more times than I can probably count. One of my favorite childhood memories is walking into the movie theater. It was the Viking Theater on College Avenue back in Appleton. That's a shout out for the olds who remember the Viking. I remember as you walked into the theater, the ushers handed you a glossary of terms. And my mother turned to me and said, "Aaron, I don't want to attend a lecture. I just want to watch a movie." That was my overriding memory of going to see Dune in the theater. But love the classic novel and very excited for Denis Villeneuve's new version, which is coming out in a couple years. We got Dune and coronavirus up in here. Travis, do you think the media is making the coronavirus more serious than it is? No, I don't. I think people are more inundated with information about it, and that kind of feeds into an anxiety level that probably isn't necessary. Yes, you should be cautious. Yes, I think it's smart to cancel these events that are being canceled across the board. I think that's very, very smart. The problem is we live in an age where we're constantly fed headline after headline when we only need to be told the information and then we can go about our day. But because we're all online, we're on social media, etc., these messages keep getting kind of burrowed into us, and that raises our anxiety level, and it makes it sound like the media is making it into something. But I don't think the media is making it into anything. It's just we consume content all the time. So what better way to distract yourself from all that than to come here and talk some Packers with Cheesehead TV. Jitsu, thanks so much for the super chat. After seeing your tweet of Devontae's route running, man, look how far he's come. Stud. I mean, he certainly wasn't running those routes his second year in the league. He was a good route runner, not a great one. But he's certainly developed, and he will tell you that himself. You know, he's worked hard every offseason to improve his game, and that's why I'm not ready to give up on MVS yet. Now, do I suspect MVS follows that same path? It's hard to say. I tend to doubt it, but I do think he can improve and continue to develop and become an offensive weapon for the Packers, which is all you can really ask for, especially from a late round pick. Aaron Rodgers was just a Jeopardy question. Well, that's good, Jared, seeing he's been on the program and won it. People at my local Costco were fighting over toilet paper. Yeah, I know, it's unfortunate. Bud, hit like, everyone. Yes, hit like, people. Does the wide receiver depth in the draft allow us to get Robbie Anderson cheaper? Nicholas, I tend to doubt it. I know the kind of hovering around asking price that was reported a couple weeks ago was $15 million. I'd be surprised if he went much below that. That's per year. And there was a report earlier today that said that the Jets and Anderson have mutual interest in his return to New York. Now, they've got about 10 days to make that deal happen. We'll see how that progresses. But I don't think that the depth of the draft is going to scare anybody off signing a known commodity, especially one in New York. Jake, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Watching from the lake. From the lake. It's hook set season, Nags. Go Pack Go. Go Pack Go, Jake. Got you fish for me, buddy. What's the highest draft pick you think they could get without giving away everything? You mean trading up in the first round? It's hard because they're so far down there. They probably have to give up at least their second to get up anywhere near the vicinity of getting a blue chip player. And even then, I'm not sure that gets it done. I'd be surprised if they make much of a jump. Now, maybe they package a early day 3 pick or a late day 2 pick, try and jump up a couple spots, but I don't see them getting up much higher than 20 or so. That would be a bit of a jump. Can you see the Packers trading for Goodwin? 2 years, $10 million left on his deal. Patrick, I would never say never. I'd be surprised if John Lynch wanted to make that deal within the conference. Now, it's nice that he knows the offense. There's no doubt about that. But I tend to think that the depth of the draft and the skill set available in the draft, I would think Gutekunst would probably just look to the draft to get his own wide receiver rather than take on a guy who, yes, has a pretty reasonable contract, but much rather have a guy on a rookie contract for 4 years at very reasonable rates than a guy who, has speed, no doubt about it, and knows the offense, but is going to cost you $5 million a year. My guesswork with Gutekunst is that's the way he'll go. David, thank you so much for the super chat. Hooper analysis seems like it's not worth it. Thoughts? David, you're talking about the posts that we've seen online between Andy Herman and Zach Cruz. I mean, I don't know. Worth it is relative, right? I mean, I have no idea what the asking price might be. No idea what the terms might entail. I was curious myself when that name popped up in the first place that they might go after him. I certainly wouldn't pay premium dollar for him, but maybe the Packers have some specific usage for his skill set that they're looking at. It's hard for me to say. I certainly wouldn't make that signing. I love the idea of Sternberger, Lewis, and Tanyan wrecking things at the tight end spot for the Packers in 2020. That's just me. I'm a nobody. Brian Gutekunst, I'm sure, will make that call. Ooh, Matt with the crystal ball question. Are MVS and EQ both on the roster come week 1? Yes, says the beer. Taylor Gabriel to Green Bay? Now that's a signing I'd like to see. He's not going to have to give up anything draft pick wise for him. He is a free agent. He wouldn't cost you in the compensatory formula because he was cut. I'm down with that. Now I suspect that there'll be a couple other teams in line for his services. And if there's a bidding war, I doubt Gutekunst gets involved, but I have to think he makes that phone call. Has it been confirmed that the Packers will host the draft in 2022? John, it has not been confirmed officially by the Packers or the NFL, but I'm here to tell you, Kyle Kuzno has never steered me wrong. If the mayor of Green Bay on Twitter says it's happening, it's happening. Cheesehead TV will stand behind it. Book your hotels now, assuming that we're not all wiped out by coronavirus by 2022. Would you give up a future first to jump 15 spots for Murray? Whew, I love me Kenneth Murray. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you, buddy. But no, I would not give up a future first to jump up 15 spots to get Kenneth Murray. That's just me. Anyone going to trade for Jimmy Graham? No. How important is tight end in this offense when the last did well with Kendricks and Richard Rodgers? I'm not quite sure I understand that combination, but how important is the tight end in this offense? It all depends on A, who the talent is, and B, what the emphasis is, both play calling design-wise and quarterback trust-wise, I guess, for lack of a better term. I think it can be a real chess piece because of the way you can, if you have the proper personnel at tight end, you can utilize power formations and suddenly turn it into a high-octane, fast-break passing game. Now, they didn't do either of those things last year, mostly because of their personnel. I think Sternberger and Tanyan, with Lewis sprinkled in, they could really do a lot of fun stuff. That's just me. Again, I probably like those guys more than I should, but I really think Sternberger is going to be a star in this league. And the sooner you get him on the field and developing, the better, for my money. Hey, Aaron, thoughts on pairing Kenneth Murray with Kenny Clark as the front seven run-stopping enforcers? You guys know I'm a Kenneth Murray fan. I absolutely love it. I think probably need another big body to couple with Kenny Clark. I know they just paid Dean Lowry. I think they got to upgrade from Tyler Lancaster. He's a great story. Obviously, has overachieved as an undrafted guy, but he kind of plateaued last year. They got to get a little bit more physical up front, I would think. That's just my hunch. Thoughts on the Bears linebacker, Nick Kwiatkowski. Ismail, I love him. I think they should go after him. I reported during the combine that they are interested and will pursue him. I tend to think there's a good chance that he's wearing green and gold after the free agency kind of 24-hour, 48 hours of silly money gets thrown around. I think he'll be an early second-wave signing by Green Bay. We'll see. I know there are other teams that are going to be interested, but I think you can get him for less than what guys like Littleton and Martinez are going to get. Sign him in free agency, get yourself an inside backer in the draft, and away you go. And then you're cooking with gas. That's my news. Any news on Balaga? Mary Beth, not a thing, not a peep. Every bit of news that we've gotten is that the Packers have not reached out to his representation. The closer we get to free agency on the 16th, the de facto start of free agency on the 16th, the more you have to think that they are content to at least let him test the market. Now, maybe they contact him just before the start of free agency and say, look, we'd love to have you back on a team-friendly deal if you don't find something you like out there. But we all know as soon as he hits free agency, there are going to be teams lining up to throw big money at him. There's no doubt. I think I'm going to purchase a Cheesehead TV draft guide tonight. What a steal of a deal. Thank you so much. And hey, if you sign up on Patreon right now, between now and April 1st, you can get exclusive early access to the draft guide. Patreon members will get it before anybody else. So a little something to chew on there. But yes, pre-orders are ongoing for the Cheesehead TV draft guide. Make sure you're on board. The only draft guide on the internet for Packers fans, by Packers fans. Absolute everything in it is geared towards the Packers. You don't have to worry about reading about some Cowboys nonsense or some Buffalo Bills nonsense. It's all Packers all the time, 100%. We've got a special edition of Packer transplants that will be included. I have an interview with Raven Green about his process. He went undrafted, but obviously you still have pro days. You still have to hire an agent, things like that. His path to the NFL. Lots of great stuff. Make sure you're checking it out. And hey, it's dirt cheap. I mean, I think less than like $6.99 if you pre-order. Come on now. Gotta love it. Does Gutekunst have an off time of year? Matt, most personnel people take that time between, there's about a 3-week window where they end the OTAs and minicamp. After minicamp, they have about 3 weeks until training camp starts. Those 3 weeks are sacrosanct for coaches and personnel people because that is the window. That's when you see you've seen NFL films do bits about Bill Belichick going to Nantucket. I used to go up when our kids were little. We used to, that time period was when we would go up to the Cape and go to Cape Cod. And you would see tons of Patriots coaches and personnel guys up and down the Cape that time of year because it's the one window in the NFL calendar where everything kind of stops and everybody kind of takes a breath before the start of the season. That 3-week window, that's about it. And Brian and I talked about that on my podcast last year. And that's when he gets to see his boys, their sports, hang out with his kids, actually spend a little time with his family. A lot of people in the NFL, that's what they do in that time period. But yeah, that is the one window that Gutekunst gets to kind of take a break. Signing Austin Hooper would keep Sternberger off the field. $10 million a year guarantees starting snaps. Herbert, I don't disagree, but starting snaps is kind of a misnomer in this offense. They're going to mix and match, and they're going to be doing things dependent on opponent. Now, while paying the guy certainly indicates that, yeah, you got to play him. I mean, they were paying Jimmy Graham a whole lot of money, and they reduced his snaps dramatically as the year went on. Now, that didn't stop Rodgers throwing him the football while he was on the field, but I don't think for a second that signing somebody in free agency is going to preclude them from playing Sternberger, especially in multiple tight end sets. But that is one of the reasons I think they may be cautious in how high they go in an offer to Hooper because, as you say, they did spend a third-round pick on the kid. Got to get him on the field. Got to let him develop. You're not doing that if you're starting somebody else over him. So that's why I think they will certainly take that into consideration when considering how involved they should be in any kind of bidding war when it comes to Hooper. Why would you? I don't know where that number came from. Oh, I see. So someone said franchise tag Kumaro, and then someone said, "Why would you pay Kumaro $14 million?" Wow. Well, I think the franchise tag Kumaro thing was a joke, but if it's not, no, we're not franchising Jake Kumaro. That's not happening. Kevin, but Kevin's going to keep it up. Franchise tag Kumaro. Well, that's not going to happen, guys. If Martinez sucks as bad as so many fans say, why is he so desirable at top dollar? Mark, that's an excellent question. And as anyone who has followed me for any length of time knows, it's because he doesn't suck anywhere near as much as everyone online would have you believe, or at least the loudest minority haters. But that said, he does have his limitations, but so do most guys who reach free agency. There's a reason they reach free agency. Teams are ready to move on, get younger, etc. And teams in need of a Band-Aid will pay. There's undoubtedly a market for his services, and teams with boatloads of cap money and a needed inside backer will pay him. And he knows that. That's why he's dead set on hitting the market. I agree with you on Sternberg. Well, Travis, thanks. That's at least somebody does. Martinez hasn't been paid yet, no. No, he hasn't, but he will be. Does Lewis come back on another one-year deal? Steven, I think so. We'll see. We'll see if they get that done either prior to free agency opening or just past it. But really liked what he added in the run game. Obviously limited in the passing game, but still added something there as well. And I think he really settled into a really good role in this offense, and as well as a real role when it comes to leadership, locker room. Aaron Rodgers clearly loved the guy. I'd be surprised if they didn't bring him back for at least one more year. Aaron, do you think Kingsley Keke can be that upgrade over Lancaster? I do. I don't know if the Packers do. They barely played him down the stretch last year, and I thought he should be getting more snaps. Now, maybe that's just a question of preparedness. I don't know. But I absolutely love that kid. I think he could develop into something reliable, especially against the run. I love his quick twitch. I think he's got a good instinct, has a good instinct for finding the ball after the snap. We'll see. I like him a lot. I hope they allow him on the field a little bit more to develop a little bit more, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they brought in a little more heft with experience up front. Where would the draft take place in Green Bay, Lambeau or elsewhere? Oh, sorry. The actual draft, most likely in Lambeau, but I think they would also utilize Titletown and probably build that out, probably build a remote stage, probably between the two. There's a good possibility they would kind of build a stage like they did when Steve Miller Band opened up in the parking lot area, and then that whole area would probably be closed off to traffic. I mean, if you're a regular resident of Ashwaubenon and that part of Green Bay, it's probably going to be a nightmare, but it'll be a lot of fun and cool for anybody who's visiting. Is Mims a more complete prospect than Adams was? I don't know about more complete, but I think maybe a little bit more explosive and athletic, which is crazy to say. You're looking at Devontae now, but I'm talking about when Devontae was coming out of college, probably just a little bit higher as far as athletic testing goes and a bit of a higher ceiling, which has got to be exciting if you're the Packers and you have the ability to draft him. But hey, Devontae, Ted loved him coming out because of his athleticism. He tested really well, and clearly Ted saw the ability for his development, and his ceiling was pretty high. I think Mims could reach, if not surpass that. Aaron, do you think there's any chance that Green Bay goes into 2020 with Lane Taylor and Jared Valdir as the two main options at right tackle? I'd be shocked if they were counting on Lane Taylor to play tackle, but you never know. I know that's recently come back up because he posted that great shot of the offensive line from that Thursday night game where he played left tackle. But yeah, I'd be absolutely shocked if they were counting on him in any capacity to play tackle. Now, maybe they keep him around because of his versatility as a backup guard and tackle. That wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. But I don't think they're going to sit there and bypass somebody in the draft, say, because they have Lane Taylor who can kick out there. Clearly, I think Valdir is the answer. We'll see if they make that happen here leading up to the draft. Leading up to free agency. But I can't imagine them counting on Lane Taylor in any way. Eric Armstead would be a great fit next to Clark, but can't pay him more than Clark. Yeah, Patrick. I mean, that would be kind of an issue. But crazier things have happened, right? And we'll see. Hey, maybe Leonard Williams shakes loose, doesn't get a tag, and they sign him. I don't know. Nice. What do you think they do with Kevin King after this season? Travis, I think they'll extend him during the season. We'll see. It's obviously his first time playing all 16 games, so you got to be a little bit cautious there. But I think you saw a player who's continuing to get better. It's funny because if he continues to improve, I could see him pricing himself out of Green Bay if he has another good year where he leads them in interceptions and kind of becomes a little bit more consistent, which is kind of his bugaboo at the moment. But I suspect they'll get him signed sooner, well before he hits the market. But we'll see. Maybe he gets injured and that takes care of it. Sometimes these decisions are taken out of your hands. But I think if he stays on the field, he'll be re-signed at some point this season. All right, everybody. I'm going to have to jump. I can't thank you guys enough for all the questions. Sorry if I couldn't get to yours. So many of you here, 168 of you on a Tuesday afternoon in the off season. It's amazing, the power of the NFL. Thank you so much. Please hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. And hey, I'm taking on a Patreon member tonight in Madden. If you'd like to take me on, put your money where your mouth is, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. All I ask is $5 a month, and then you can talk some smack and challenge me to a Madden game because no one's beat me yet, and I need a challenge. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.